Woke people can be some of the most abusive people you'll ever meet. At least, this has been my experience. I think it's great when people take a stand for social issues, and I have no issues with being awake. However, this can go too far, and it allows for people to become abusive while thinking they are completely in the right. That's an incredibly dangerous thing. My ex was one of these people. She cared deeply about fixing social issues, and because of that she felt it was fine to steamroll everyone she knew and cared about because their discomfort was worth the change she was pushing. To an extent, I even agree with that. She was way too hypocritical though. Eventually she became dead to my feelings. If she hurt me, I did something to deserve it, or I was overreacting out of fragility and needed to get a grip. She was never willing to admit wrong, and my views were always tainted because I was a guy. I spent way too long in that relationship hating myself because I respected her efforts for change. It wasn't until I sought therapy that I realized how hurtful she was being. Eventually I came to the conclusion that believing the same things she did didn't give her a pass to treat people awfully. So yeah, sometimes the most outwardly caring and seemingly empathetic people can be the most abusive ones in your life. Edit. There's nothing wrong with caring about or trying to fix social issues. I hold values very similar to hers. This isn't targeting beliefs saying they are wrong, it's targeting bad actions done thinking they are justified with good beliefs. I'm not particularly religious, but I think that's why pride was the most sneaky of the 7 deadly sins. People get on their high horse and become super self-righteous, and it's nigh impossible to call them out because the intentions are good. Edit. I'm not talking about LGBTQ pride. I'm talking about the sin of pride. One of my closest friends is woke and I love her to death, but I'm walking on eggshells anytime I talk to her. For example, the other day I asked her if she had a type. She looked at me, viciously upset, and unironically said that it was racist to have a type. I just recoiled and said, so that's a no. Edit. I want to make it clear, when we're just shooting the shit, she's a very friendly and loving person. My comment was referring to when we start talking politics. Oh gosh. Is your ex my ex? Mine was the exact same way, incredibly smart and educated about social issues, we both were, but she would use it to put other people down and shame them for all the ways they fell short. Like, you couldn't do anything right, ever. She made me feel like complete shit, but I saw her as this person with truly good intentions, so I thought I felt like shit because I was a shit person. She never left room for growth. If someone said something slightly off base or insensitive, she'd write them off forever. Being her GF, I heard what she said about people behind their backs when this happened. She was horribly judgmental and used her wokeness to abuse and belittle others. Ugh, I'm so embarrassed I dated her. Edit. Random, but it's come up in later comments, so I wanted to add, yes, I'm pretty sure she has NPD. After I broke up with her, I was reading about the characteristics of it and she fit them to a T. It was wild, everything suddenly clicked. The funny, not funny at all, thing is that she worked a domestic violence agency advocating for survivors. All while coming home and subjecting me/anyone around to textbook emotional abuse and manipulation. I still can't get over how I didn't see it clearly at first. I have no experience with abusiveness, but considering the overall attitude, I know so much more than the rest of you sheeple. They are hardly good people to hang out with in general. 100%, people who are so aggressively woke are a lot like the extremely regressive people they hate so much. My sister is uber progressive, feminist, the whole thing, as am I, bleeding heart liberal here, but she's impossible to get along with and will go off on you if you say the wrong thing. My family doesn't like her despite other, much more loved relatives of mine actually having really asinine beliefs. Most woke people don't even do anything to help the causes they claim to believe in. They just want attention. Telling people that they're only bothered because of their fragility and/or privilege is a form of gaslighting in and of itself. I recently got into a Twitter fight, my first mistake, but I was bored, with someone who claimed that the keto diet is ableist because it was appropriated from people with epilepsy. Some guy started arguing with me and I didn't like the way he spoke over me. So I said something like, "You just love the metaphorical sound of your manly voice." Yes, immature, but nothing too awful. Immediately I was accused of being a TERF and a white supremacist. Someone made like 10 tweets about me attacking my appearance. All because I don't think you can appropriate a diet from someone if you aren't removing their ability to also eat the diet. Like, I'd say it's wrong to, for example, start a Japanese restaurant and put yourself forward as an expert on Japanese cuisine with no connection to the culture. But I'm sorry, but I think it's ridiculous to say you're appropriating or co-opting the fucking keto diet. They might be woke, but they are not awakened. They still sleep in the dream of their ego. They do not know themselves, let alone the others they try to help or try to stop. They run through the pitch black corridors of their idealism, knowing that the light switch must be somewhere nearby, but break all the furniture, valuables, and themselves in the attempt to find it. The ultimate irony is that the very same people who claim to be woke and state tolerance and rights for all are first person to call you a fascist if you even slightly disagree with them, insult you, and want you silenced. I don't think they realize what that word actually means. We love, respect and tolerate all, except if you disagree with me, then you're a racist, bigoted, fascist piece of shit who deserves death. My take on conversations with most liberals anyway. They can also be the most patronizing. They love you as long as you're agreeable to them. They see people as social justice projects instead of individuals with independent thoughts and ideas. Today me and my ex-girlfriend broke up. This post is so accurate that it's almost like I wrote it. Really can't agree more. Woke people are just the Karens of politics. If you don't agree on something, they'll ask for your manager and try to get you fired. Instead of arguing against the point you're making, they just try to hurt you. Woke people are everything they claim to hate. I got called a Trump apologist on Facebook for pointing out that some destroyed shops are owned by immigrants. It's not all big core like Walmart. I'm a POC immigrant myself and voted Hillary 4 years ago. Just because you are correct in your social post-ions doesn't mean you are a good person. I laugh at woke people because most of them are all talk. Most of them will talk about the importance of helping people, but will turn a blind eye to the homeless who are critically in need of help. When the opportunity arises for someone who needs help, they'll be the first to bitch out. If a new immigrant family were to come to their country asking for a place to stay, the woke IES would probably refuse. All talk, no action. When people think they're the most virtuous is typically when they're at their most toxic.